and dinner is served. Oh man, can't see anything. No matter how many lights you've got mounted to your car or canopy, there's always going to be a situation where you wish you had just one more. In today's video, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to solve that problem for $30. What's up guys? About 5 years ago I was walking through the clamp section at Bunnings and I thought to myself, if I could somehow mount a light to one of their clamps, it would make for a pretty cool and versatile camping light that you could pretty much clamp on anywhere you wanted. Well, I bought the clamp and a few other bits and pieces and I put together this. So basically I just bolted a light through the clamp, added a switch, a bit of wiring and a plug on the end. And this has been so useful over the past 4 or 5 years for everything from clipping on the bonnet to look into the engine bay, to sticking it on the awning for a bit of extra light around camp, or even when mates don't have lights set up on their car, you can just loan that out to them. I reckon about the only thing that would make this more useful would be if I had a second one. So let's get into the garage and build one. So, what are you going to need to make this for yourself? Well, you're going to need some form of light, and pretty much any 12-volt light should do the trick. I picked this one up for $13 on eBay. It's a little 10-watt unit, and I'll chuck a link in the description below if you want to buy the same one. Now, you might be tempted to chuck the most powerful light you can find on here, and by all means it will work if you want to do that. But just keep in mind that the more powerful the light, the more it's going to drain your battery. So this one, as I said, is 10 watt, the same as my original model, and trust me, for camping, 10 watts is the perfect amount of light. It gives off plenty so that you can see what you need to, but not so much that you're going to drain your battery. You'll also need any length of twin core wiring that you like. So I'll be using 5 meters. I just find that's the perfect amount to plug a light in and you can pretty much run it anywhere around the vehicle. You'll need a cheap 12-volt switch, your $3 clamp from Bunnings, and also a 12-volt plug to suit your setup. So I'm a fan of using the standard cigarette lighter plugs for this particular application because I just find it makes the light so much more versatile. And if you're camping with someone who maybe doesn't have the best lighting situation, you can easily just loan them this whole light and you'll know that it's pretty much guaranteed to work on their car. My mates will tell you just how useful that is. Moving on to what tools you need. Pretty basic. You're just going to need a pair of pliers, a couple of screwdrivers, a drill and some drill bits. You'll need a soldering iron and some solder, and also some heat shrink or electrical tape. If you've got a vise to hold things steady, that's going to be great as well. Mine's not installed yet, so today I'll just be using a standard clamp to hold things steady. Yeah, that's all you need. Let's get to it. So you might have noticed that my 12-volt plug doesn't have any wiring coming out the back, meaning I'm going to have to open this up and connect my own manually. So that's for 2 reasons. The first is that I really wanted to make this video as detailed and in-depth as possible for you guys. And the second reason is that this is the only plug I had laying around, but mainly the first reason. So if you're smart and you bought a plug with wiring already attached, feel free to skip on ahead while the rest of us do things the hard way. So if you've never taken one of these apart before, it's pretty straightforward. So for this particular design, on one side there's a small Phillips screw. So basically we're just going to be taking that out first. Okay, now on the tip, this middle piece here is going to unscrew. And that will come out like so. So this is actually made up of 2 pieces, so don't be alarmed if it falls apart in your hands. Got that outer piece here, and this inner piece that feeds through the middle. So pop those somewhere safe. Now the fuse will come out the middle as well. Pop that to the side. And there'll also be a spring in here as well. So that's those pieces removed. Now take a small screwdriver and you just want to be popping this silver cap off the tip there as well. So just find an opening and just poke it up until it comes off. Okay, now this is only being held together by itself basically. So you want to take your screwdriver, find an opening in the middle that's going to separate these 2 halves, so that and that will come apart. So we'll poke in there
and just run it down to separate those two halves. Now just gently pull it apart. Okay, so that is the inside of your 12-volt plug. So when the spring and the fuse are in the middle, your positive is going to be running straight down the center and connecting to this piece here. And then the edge two are your earths. So you can see this, this plug has a little LED indicator on the other side, just there. So that's wired to the positive and to the negative. So what we need to do now, just take that fuse out again. Basically, we're going to be taking a little bit of wire, running it through here, so it comes into the plug, and then we'll need to wire the negative to the edge, somewhere about there, and the positive will come through and connect to the middle portion, just there. Okay, so it's not the neatest job in the world, but that wire and that little LED indicator wire are both now soldered to this piece. So now I can go ahead and put this one back in place. And the important thing I'm looking for now is to make sure that none of this connection on the earth side is going to be touching this positive piece in the middle. So I'll just pop that back in now. Okay, so that's worked out well. You can see there's a nice big gap that I can actually fit my screwdriver between, in between the positive plate and this negative, and all my extra wiring down there as well. So that's great. So now basically I'll be taking the positive side, running it through and doing the same just there.
By the way, if you're having any trouble getting your soldering joints to stay connected properly, it might be worth looking into some more expensive solder. I know I struggled for years using this cheap and dirty super cheap auto stuff, and it was just a nightmare to live with. Probably a lack of skill on my part as well, but one day I upgraded to this slightly more expensive stuff from Bunnings. It's actually the lead-free version as well, which I'd heard wasn't as good, but honestly for me, the difference was night and day, and I wish I'd made the change a bit earlier. It's just worth looking into if you're having any trouble with yours.
Okay, so finished that positive section as well. So I'll pop that back in place. There we go. Our wiring is complete. So just give it another look over to make sure nothing's touching that shouldn't be, and that all your connections are nice and secure. I'm pretty happy with that. So what we can do now is just put it all back together again. And step one is complete.
Alrighty, now the most painful part's out of the way. The next thing we're going to be doing is basically combining these three pieces: the switch, the light, and the clamp itself. So basically what we're doing is we're going to take this light and work out where on the bracket we're going to want to attach it. So for me, I'm probably going to go just a little bit past the midpoint, because that's going to give me enough room for the extra holes we need to drill. So one hole is going to be roughly about there. I'm going to then put a second one just behind the light bracket, and that's going to be for the wire to actually go inside the clamp, just to make it a bit more neat. And then a third hole is going to be for this switch. So the switch is going to sit basically there. So when it's clamped, you'll be able to operate the switch, and the light is going to be sitting about there. So that's basically what we're going to end up with, hopefully. Alrighty, we've chucked it in the clamp to hold things nice and secure, and we've marked our 3 spots. So let's get drilling. Don't you love that? Alrighty, so now that our clamp's got those 3 required holes, we can chuck these pieces together and then we'll get into the wiring after that. Oh, and I forgot to mention, you'll also need a spanner. I reckon that's looking pretty good. Got the switch nice and easy to access underneath if you've clamped it onto your awning or something like that. Yeah, I guess we better get started on this wiring. That'll be the next fun part. Alright, so let me run you through my basic plan of attack for this wiring.
So we have the light here, the wire then comes down and drops into the clamp. Under there, I'll just take this dust cover off. Basically what I'm thinking is I'm going to run this up next to the switch and then I'll try and conceal as much of this wiring behind that orange cover on the other side just to make it look a little bit neater. So these are my 2 wires coming from the switch. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this one, I'll cut it back really short, maybe around there, strip it, and then I'll connect that positive into the switch wire there. This bit obviously removed. Then the positive through the switch will then be fed into the light from there, and then the earth is there. So I'll connect those 2 parts through to the 12 volt socket, and all the rest should be concealed behind this cover. That's the plan anyway.
Okay, we're on the home stretch now, so that switch is all wired in and we're just left with these 2 wires coming out of the light. So all that's left to do now is just take our 5-meter long cable and connect it to those 2 wires. Then we'll just chuck the plug on the end and we're all done. And easy as that, we've just built ourselves a versatile and durable clamp light that's going to last us for years. And all for about $30 in parts. Well, all that's left to do now is go and test it out. How awesome is that? You really just can't beat a clamp when it comes to versatility. Here's the thing guys, my original light is still going strong, and to be honest, I don't really need 2 clamp lights. So as a way of saying thank you to you guys for supporting the channel, I thought it might be a fun idea to pick a random comment from this video and I'll post you out this actual clamp light. So if you're from Australia and you're looking to add a new light to your camping setup, feel free to drop a comment down below, and towards the end of June I'll pick a random winner and I'll send you out this actual light we've just built today. You will need an Instagram account so I can contact you to get your postage information, but other than that, everyone's eligible. Anyway guys, I hope this video has inspired you to get out there and build your own 12 volt light. As always, thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.